Now, we start by telling you that the Federal High Court in Abuja has adjourned the trial of the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, to November 20th for a judgment. Justice James Omotosho waived Kanu's right to defense after he repeatedly declined to open his defense, despite several opportunities given by the court. Now, in the meantime, the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, has written to U.S. President Donald Trump, urging him to launch an independent inquiry into the alleged genocide of Christians and Igbo people in Nigeria's southeast. Kanu described himself as a prisoner of conscience, highlighting his abduction from Kenya in an extraordinary rendition violating international law. He accused extremist groups like Boko Haram, ISWAP, and Fulani militias with alleged state complicity of targeting Judeo-Christian communities. Kanu called for U.S. sanctions on key Nigerian military and security officials and recommended a supervised referendum for Igbo self-determination. He appealed for urgent U.S. action following Trump's recent warning of military intervention if Nigeria fails to protect its Christian population. The Independent National Electoral Commission has begun the distribution of sensitive materials for the off-cycle governorship election in Anambra State, slated for November the 8th, 2025. Meanwhile, Commissioner of Police in charge of the election, Abayomi Shogunle, has assured voters of adequate security before, during, and after the polls. News Central's correspondent, Austin Azu, is on ground and brings the report. We'll bring the report to you very shortly, but right now we'll cross over to News Central's Austin Azu, who is on standby to give more updates. Austin, where are you at the moment, and what's the updates where you are?
Okay, good afternoon, Blessing. We are currently at Nnewi North local government area of Anambra State, and just a few hours to the local government election. Let me just give you a breakdown of what we have here at the local government area. In Nnewi North, we have 10 political wards, and we have 318 polling units, and we have 4 racks, and eligible voters who are supposed to go to the poll tomorrow, about 166,400 registered voters slated for this exercise here in Nnewi North. And where we are currently is Okpongo market in Nnewi, and we have at this market a lot of traders who are here buying and selling. But for the worth of time, we have some respondents here to talk to us. How prepared are they for this election? We have Emeka Obi. Emeka Obi, how are you? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Okay, how prepared are you for the election tomorrow?
Well, we thank God we are preparing for it. We are just preparing for it. We thank God for the former governor that is at seat, and we are getting ready by the grace of God to vote in again so that he will continue.
Okay, what are the likely things you have seen so far that you think may likely threaten the peace of this election in your local government, in your ward, and your own area?
Well, the way we see things moving, the governor is working very well, and he's interacting with the people. The way that he's this thing, we thank God for all his.
Okay, what are the answers you say? You dey feel say police go fit take care of this election? You dey feel any security challenges for this place?
Well, for now, we see many police, we see many soldiers, but for now we have never experienced anything. For now, but we never know about tomorrow, whether if there's anything they can do. But for now, there's no problem.
Okay, so what will be your expectation for this election so far? What are you expecting in this election?
My expectation, I'm expecting that the former governor will continue.
So in terms of voting, what do you expect voters to do and so on and so forth?
Okay, what I'm trying to tell people, let nobody sell his vote. If you come out, just vote the person that you want to vote. Because collect money and vote is not good. But if you want, vote somebody that is in your mind, that can work, that can make things to move forward, that can bring education, normal education in our society. Okay. That's what I'm expecting.
Okay, thank you, Obi. All right, we have Madam Perisma. Please come forward a little. Okay, Madam Perisma, okay, bring us to speed. How are you prepared for the election tomorrow? What are your expectations so far?
I expect people to come out massively to vote for their own candidates.
All right, what about in terms of security? Do you see the presence of security personnel in your own area and in the local government here?
Yes, we have security in Anambra State. We have AVG and the
Ndogashugu.
Yes, we have. They came massively. I saw them there before yesterday. They passed here, army people and police people. They came out.
So what is your message to INEC now to conduct this election? Your message to INEC?
My message to let me just say my opinion. My message to INEC is that they should do the election free and fair election for people, those people that will come out and vote, so that everybody will go home happy.
Okay, assuming you are going to vote tomorrow, how much you go sell your own vote? How much you go sell them?
I'm not going to vote. Too. I'm not going to vote.
So why are you not going to vote?
When Peter Obi was campaigning for election, I voted him, but the vote doesn't count. So I decided to keep my vote. Maybe I just kept it maybe for something. Maybe my daughter wants to enter school. They will say, go and bring your mommy's voter's card. That's why I kept it. But for vote, I don't need to vote for in Nigeria again.
Oh, this is very serious. You know, it's your civic responsibility for you to go and vote.
I know. But the one I voted doesn't count. So I don't want to vote again. I don't want to come out tomorrow. I want to be in my house.
Okay, well, let it be. That's your own personal opinion. Thank you, Priscilla. We appreciate you. All right, from what the respondents have said so far, it's obvious that people have divided opinion about tomorrow's election. Precisely the last speaker who talked about the previous election, how it turned out. And we are looking forward to see these over 166 registered voters in this local government area going out tomorrow to go and cast their votes. And of course, the presence of security personnel has been confirmed. And we are looking forward to see more of their show of force within the local government in the coming hours. So back to you in the studio, Blessing.
Mr. Nazu, thank you so much for the update. That is the update from the people of Anambra State gearing up towards the governorship election in the state come Saturday. And from what you hear, there seem to be a not so subtle hint at vote buying and voter apathy. So we would let you know what to expect for the elections on Saturday on News Central Television. Now, less than 24 hours to the much talked about Anambra State governorship election, the Commissioner of Police in charge of the exercise, Abayomi Shogunle, says officers are fully prepared to carry out their statutory duty of protecting lives and property during the polls. News Central's Victor Mbadike reports that residents, election observers, and other stakeholders are equally set for Saturday's crucial election. We'll now cross over to Victor Mbadike, who joins us live from Anambra State with more on what to expect as voters head to the polls tomorrow. Victor, where are you at the moment and what are we expecting from that? We've just spoken to Austin Azu, and from the people that he had, asked questions, kind of hinted at vote buying and most importantly, the fact that they don't want to vote. So it's looking like there'll be a bit of voter apathy in Anambra State. What are we expecting from your region?
All right, Blessings, thank you, and good afternoon to you and all the team over there. Well, it's a mixed bag here in Anambra State. I'm currently at where they call Water Express in Awka. And of course, the elections will begin in the next few hours, less than 24 hours as a matter of fact. And the people are all geared up for that election. For some persons, it's do or die. They must vote in their choice, whether they like it or not. Of course, you know that everybody has their own preference. Whichever candidate that they prefer should win the election. So they're all set to go out there and vote. However, we've also spoken to the Commissioner of Police, who is in charge of this election, CP Abayomi Shogunle, who have also told us that his team, the security personnel is just about 60,000 personnel spread across the entire 21 local governments of Anambra State will be, ready for that election. As we speak, they have already been deployed to their respective election units, and especially the flashpoints. Remember that in the last election that involved the Anambra State people, which was in 2023, that brought in, during the national elections, just about 12% of Anambrans actually voted. That's a loss, which means that about 88% of them refused to vote. So this time around, there've been a lot of campaign, towards indigents of this beautiful state, that they must this time around come out and vote and change the narrative going forward, because otherwise it will continue to be same narrative, same situation of voter apathy. And of course, we do have some of them who are all gathered. Let's talk to some of them right now. They're all gathered for that election tomorrow, and they have a lot of message that they want to pass across to us. Do note that Anambra State is about 21 local governments, the second highest local government in this state. 60,000 personnel spread across the entire 21, and over 5,000 polling units all geared up for this election. We have Mr. Emmanuel, who of course is a keke rider here, and he's going to be telling us exactly how ready he is for that election. Good afternoon, sir, please. Good afternoon, sir. The election is in 24 hours from now. How ready are you for that election, and how ready are the people of Anambra for the election?
Well, today I'm not ready, but everybody are ready. Hence, everybody are ready, I'm ready.
So when you say you are not ready, what do you mean you are not ready? Don't you have a voter's card? Do you even know your polling unit?
Everything, I have everything.
Okay.
Tomorrow I'll go and elect whom I like and go back to my home.
Are you satisfied with the preparation in terms of security that will be provided on that day? Are you satisfied with preparation from the INEC?
Well, all I know that the security is enough. We're not in war front, so security is enough. I don't know about INEC, so I don't trust the INEC. I trust the security. There are too much in Anambra State.
I understand that before now, a lot of people are saying they are scared of coming out because of the scared situation in Anambra State. Is this bad news? Is it good news? Are you saying that there are no issues in town? Are you saying that you are not bothered about security problem? Are you saying there is nothing of such?
Well, government is trying enough. Federal government is trying to secure his people. But I don't know about everything. I'm not God. I'm not God.
So you're ready. Where's your polling unit?
I'm ready to go and vote and go my way.
Where's your polling unit?
I don't know. Okay, my polling is Agolo. Do you know Agolo? Don't know Agolo. Anambra State. Do you know IPOB site? Okay. You don't know. That's my polling unit.
Okay, well, you did hear that. Now, you need to understand that out of the over 5,000 polling units, only about 2 polling units will not be participating in this election. We understand that they had no single registered voter in those units, which means that there will not be security presence in those places. But aside from that, all things seems to be set. We hope to give you more updates in the next few hours from now. Blessings.
All right, Victor Mbadike, thank you so much for bringing us the update on the Anambra governorship election. We can see and feel the pulse of the people on how they're gearing up for the election, and we'll find out. News Central will definitely bring them updates as that unfolds. Now, News Central's Chinwe Ugele is also on standby to give more updates regarding the Anambra governorship elections that is coming up on Saturday. Chinwe, where are you at the moment? What's the update from your region? All right, while we're preparing to join Chinwe Ugele to tell us more about the Anambra State election where she is, we will be going on a break. Best believe that our reporters are on standby, and of course News Central is ready to bring you the update on the Anambra State election. But in the meantime, you're still live with us on the 12th Report. We're going on a short break, and when we come back, commercial cyclists in Boko demand protection from thieves. The details after the break. Stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. Now, we did mention that Anambra State is gearing up for its off-cycle elections, and we have our representatives and correspondents in Anambra State in different regions. We've heard from Austin Azu, and we've also felt the pulse of the region where Victor Mbadike is. And now we want to hear from my colleague, News Central's Chinwe Ugele, who is also on standby to give us more updates on the upcoming elections in Anambra State. Chinwe, where are you at the moment, and what is the pulse of the people like regarding the election that is just 24 hours away?
Thank you very much. I am at the INEC office here at Agwata local government area of Anambra State. So the people that are in this area here are also, well, most of them are officials, and then you have the security operatives, some have come to confirm that their materials, both sensitive and non-sensitive, have arrived for the exercise. And I can confirm to you that those materials have arrived to this very local government, Agwata. Remember, this is where one of the candidates for the election will be voting in. So the cause of the people is normal. It's just that they are waiting for tomorrow to come already.
Right. So we spoke earlier with Austin Azu and Victor Mbadike, and some of the people that they spoke to, unfortunately, were hinting at vote buying. And the most important thing that they were also talking about is the fact that they have their voters' cards, but it doesn't look like it's doing much work because they've tried to vote in the past and it didn't, make any difference. So they may not be going out to vote. With this in mind, what kind of turnout are we expecting for tomorrow?
Well, it's dicey. There's likely going to be apathy, but like I said earlier this morning, we'll have to wait till tomorrow comes. I have with me a gentleman who I'd like to, speak about his impression concerning tomorrow's election. Please, sir, what's your name? All right, so tell me what you think about tomorrow's election.
So far, INEC has put everything in place. All here in the local government office, and staffs, supervisors, everything's in place.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, so that's it. Some people believe that the election will be hate-free, it will not have any issues, and they also believe that INEC has put in the work to get to this level. So everybody is expectant of what tomorrow will be.
Chinwe, before we let you go, I want to ask the level of preparedness in terms of security. What kind of security apparatus is on ground, and are there enough security personnel, that are preparing for the elections?
Well, I'd say that there is more than enough security personnel available on ground. Everywhere you turn, you see security, the police mostly all over the place. So I think in terms of presence, in terms of availability, we have them around. But then we'll still have to wait to see what happens. But nobody's praying for any surprises, to spring up tomorrow. But then they are all over the place, and looking at that, you would say that they have prepared in terms of security to provide to make the people feel at home while voting.
All right, Chinwe Ugele, thank you for bringing us the updates from another region in Anambra State. And definitely, like we said earlier, News Central will be bringing the viewers the feel and the look as we anticipate the elections in the next 24 hours. Now, in Benue, commercial motorcycle riders in Mokwa have taken to the streets to protest the continuous killing of their members by suspected thieves who attack and snatch motorcycles, especially during the early and late hours. The riders say government and security agencies have failed to tackle the growing menace, leaving them vulnerable to violent attacks. It will be recalled that some riders recently resorted to jungle justice in response to these incidents, a development earlier reported by News Central's Benue correspondent, Sewese Anyo. And now Sewese Anyo, my colleague, joins us now for more on this. Sewese, can you provide the details on the recent incident in jungle justice by these riders on the thieves who attacked them?
Yes, good afternoon. So as we speak now, there is growing tension in Boko local government area, and not just Boko local government area, many other local government areas in Benue State as we speak, because there is a protest going on presently where roads have been blocked, especially major roads in Boko local government area, as motorcycle riders have insisted that the government has to act to protect them against these suspected thieves who go about killing and snatching bikes. So sometimes they come at night while they disguise as passengers and then sit on the bike, and then when it gets to a lonely location, either at night or early hours of the morning, then they strike. So sometimes they kill the motorcycler, and then sometimes they snatch the bike from him. So we've recorded within the week, according to a reliable source, within the week alone, we've recorded 3 deaths one happened last night, which triggered today's protest in Boko. So we've seen that these incidents have continued to happen. And according to some of the motorcycle riders I spoke with earlier while coming here, they have stated that repeatedly these incidents are often reported to security agencies. However, there is, at the end of the day, nothing is done, and the incidents have continued to happen, and they have continued to lose their members to this SSP. So they have had enough, and they are stating that until the government reacts, until security agencies take this thing as a priority to protect the lives of citizens in this state, that the protest will continue and will not stop. So right now, I don't know what the security agents have not responded.
So, Wesley, can you hear me? All right. Unfortunately, we seem to have lost the audio for Sewesi, and we're hoping that we can reestablish connection so we can talk more about the Benue Okada riders' protest regarding their safety. All right, going back to the Nnamdi Kanu's story, where he has written to the U.S. to affirm that indeed there is the religious outbreak in Nigeria. We will now be joined by Joshua Imarayi, who will be giving us an update live from the court where he currently is. Joshua, what were the details at the court ruling, while adjourning for judgment?
It's official. Justice James Omotosho of the Federal High Court in Abuja has adjourned to the 20th of November for judgment in the terrorism trial of Nnamdi Kanu. And of course, during the ruling, Justice James Omotosho did not hold back to reiterate that Nnamdi Kanu was given several attempts, particularly 6 days to open his defense, which he refused vehemently. Justice James Omotosho said that Nnamdi Kanu cannot deny the fact that the court gave him ample time and cannot state that the court denied him the opportunity or perhaps the constitutional right of fair hearing and to defend himself. So the judge adjourned to the 20th of November for possible ruling after Nnamdi Kanu submitted a new motion in court.
Okay, so we see that Nnamdi Kanu has made some special requests, both in court and outside of court, and I'm speaking about the fact that he wrote to the U.S., in light of the whole insecurity issue. But did he make any special request or application in court today?
Yes, of course, Nnamdi Kanu made a motion, submitted a motion that was filed on the 6th of November, and that was now presented to the court on the 7th of November, being today. And in that motion, Nnamdi Kanu made several requests. And the first request was that all the plea he took in the past concerning this case, as regards to this case, that all the pleas should be set aside. Nnamdi Kanu said he was deceived to take those plea of not guilty. He is still affirming that, according to the Constitution, that there is nothing like the Terrorism Prevention Act under which he is being tried upon. Nnamdi Kanu also said that all previous orders made by the court should be set aside, considering them invalid and illegal. And lastly, Nnamdi Kanu told the court to jettison the entire proceedings and to free him so he can be released from the DSS custody. Well, Justice James Omotosho confirmed that, yes, he has received the said motion on notice, and it will be studied particularly and will be touched on when the judge is giving his judgment November 20th. November 20th is going to be the D-Day. Nnamdi Kanu is going to learn of his fate from Justice Omotosho. We are expecting that day to be tight as security will take over the Federal High Court premises. All parties and those interested from several quarters will be ready to listen to what the court has to say concerning this trial. Blessings. All
right, Joshua Imarayi, thank you for the updates. And like you said, they will not only be the ones ready, News Central is also on standby to listen to what the courts have to say. Now, 3 decades after the execution of Ken Saro-Wiwa and 8 other Ogoni activists, campaigners say the pollution and neglect they fought against still persist in the Niger Delta. At a forum in Lagos to mark the anniversary, speakers renewed calls for cleanup and justice for oil-impacted communities. They say, despite global shifts to renewable energy, the region remains trapped in cycles of environmental degradation and poverty. Environmental advocate Nemo Bassi said Saro-Wiwa's ideals remain relevant as oil exploration continues to take priority over restoration and community welfare. Now, participants urged government to uphold justice for the Ogoni 9 and ensure full implementation of environmental cleanup efforts in the Niger Delta.
In honoring Ken Saro-Wiwa, I see him as an embodiment of the famous quote by Martin Luther King, who said that the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. And I think we need to, in seeing the work of Saro-Wiwa and others, I would slightly reformulate it. It does not bend towards justice by itself, but it has to be bent. It's an active act, and Saro-Wiwa is a hero of bending the world towards justice.
You talk about violence. The biggest violence in Nigeria is environmental violence. You know, the guns may kill thousands, but the environment is killing millions. What is life expectancy in Nigeria? It's 56 for women, 53 for men. In the Niger Delta, it's 41 years. That is the greatest violence you can think about. That people are dying in their 20s. People are having women having menopause in 20s and 30s. This is violence. It's horrible violence. And so I believe that it will solve the environmental problems in Nigeria to a large extent. We have solved a lot of issues.
Nigeria's federal government says that it is creating 3 national research clusters to drive innovation and strengthen the nation's digital economy. Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy Bosun Tijani made this known at the 2025 International Conference on Theory and Practice of Electronic Governance, holding in Nigeria's capital, Abuja. Our correspondent, Joshua Imarayi, now reports.
For the first time, the International Conference on Theory and Practice of Electronic Governance is being held in a West African nation. Experts and policymakers converge on Abuja to explore how digital governance can strengthen public institutions, improve service delivery, and promote accountability in the digital age. The Minister of Communications, Innovations and Digital Economy, Bosun Tijani, says that Nigeria is investing in knowledge-driven research to boost innovation across the country's technology ecosystem.
We are setting up 3 research clusters of 6 universities each, one focused on artificial intelligence, another focus on the biggest issue in our nation today, which is connectivity, where we're investing significantly. And thirdly, because of our population, we're also funding another research cluster that is focused on digital skills and literacy.
Lawmakers at the conference emphasized the need for coordination among the 36 states of the Federation.
We need to begin to have a directory of e-governance initiatives that are going on in our 36 states. We must have a place to know exactly what our various state governments at subnational levels are doing in terms of e-governance. And from what we experience at JATEX in Lagos, we know a number of our states are doing so much.
The Director General of NITA, Kashifu Abdullahi, says that effective digital governance goes beyond technology, calling for citizens' active participation and digital literacy.
It is about delivering quality services to our citizens. It is about making the governance interactive, getting feedback from citizens as well. And to do that, we need to make sure our citizens also are digitally literate.
Also speaking, the UNESCO Chair on Digital Governance, Osa Esteves, urged governments to strengthen their capacity to manage public discussions online and safeguard digital spaces from manipulation.
Governments and states should develop their capacities to respond to such issues. They need to listen and moderate discussions about public affairs, shape political agendas to respond to uncovered needs, and secure the digital space for such discussions, free from hate speech, fake news, and political manipulation.
The conference, which brought together experts, academics, and policymakers from across the world, is expected to produce a framework that will guide Africa's transition to inclusive and transparent e-governance system. In Abuja, from the Central, I am Joshua Imarayi.
Nigeria's federal government has urged world leaders to move from rhetoric to real action in tackling climate change. Vice President Kashim Shettima made the call while addressing world leaders at the Leaders Climate Summit, also known as COP30, ongoing in Belém, Brazil. News Central State House correspondent Bettina Nweli reports.
Vice President Kashim Shettima, representing President Bola Tinubu, told delegates that the time has come for nations to stop pledging and start performing to safeguard the planet for future generations. He reaffirmed Nigeria's commitment to cutting emissions by 32% come 2035, following the launch of the National Carbon Market Framework and Climate Change Fund, key instruments to drive clean energy investments and support vulnerable communities.
A few days ago, Nigeria took a bold step forward. We approved two landmark instruments, the National Carbon Market Framework and the Climate Change Fund. These are the pillars of our climate finance architecture. Nigeria asserts that Africa's voice must not echo as a cry of vulnerability, but a chorus of innovation.
At the summit, United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres warned that the world has failed to stay below the 1.5 degrees Celsius warming limit, describing the overshoot as a red line for humanity.
Let us be clear, the 1.5 degrees limit is a red line for humanity. It must be kept within reach. And scientists also tell us that this is still possible. If we act now at speed and scale, we can make the overshoot as small, as short, and as safe as possible, and bring temperatures back below 1.5 degrees Celsius before the century's end.
With its carbon framework and emissions roadmap, Nigeria says it is demonstrating that Africa can lead in turning climate ambition into climate action. In Abuja, for News Central, Bettina Nwili.
And now to business. The Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, will officially unveil the Nigeria Tax Reform Act on Monday in Abuja, marking a major shift toward a simpler, fairer, and more transparent tax system. The event, themed Impact of the New Tax Laws, aims to enhance public understanding and promote collaboration for smooth implementation. Key speakers include Taiwo Oyedele, Ifweku Omoigu Okwaru, and FIRS senior officials. The session will gather government, tax experts, and private sector leaders to discuss the reform's impact on businesses and taxpayers. The Federal Executive Council approved over 400 billion naira from major road infrastructure projects, signaling a push to modernize Nigeria's transport network. Key approvals include Phase 2 of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, 43 billion naira dualization of Mushi NNPC Junction Apapa-Oshodi Express, which cost was revised to 19 billion naira, and Section 3 of the Sokoto-Badagry Superhighway. Legacy projects like Ilorin-Omuaran, Egba Road, and East-West Road also received funding and design reviews. Minister of Works Dave Umahi emphasized the focus on durable concrete pavements for long-term efficiency and noted state government's role in accelerating project completions. Still in business, the Nigerian Independent System Operator has highlighted a gradual, carefully managed shift to cost-reflective electricity tariffs, stressing that affordability and service improvements must go hand in hand for reforms to succeed. Speaking at the 5th Annual Power Correspondents Association of Nigeria Conference, NISO Managing Director Engineer Abdul Bello Mohammed called for deliberate, transparent tariff adjustments tied to visible service gains. He advocated targeted interventions like lifeline tariffs and data-driven rebates to shield low-income consumers while urging reductions in technical and commercial losses. Mohammed reaffirmed NISO's commitment to transparency, reliability, and building a financially sustainable, inclusive power sector. Now, Israeli ambassador to Nigeria, Mr. Michael Freeman, emphasized the need to deepen Israel-Nigeria dialogue on peace building and economic cooperation to foster sustainable growth. Speaking at the Coexistence and Dialogue Among Abrahamic Faiths event in Nigeria, Abuja, Freeman highlighted coexistence as a foundation for peace, urging grassroots engagement beyond political arenas. He called or cited Israel's model of interfaith unity in daily life and reaffirmed commitment to collaboration with Nigeria in innovation, agriculture, education, and security. Religious leaders at the event echoed calls for youth involvement and shared vision, underscoring dialogue as key to lasting peace and prosperity. Now, the South African rand remained steady at 17.37 to the dollar early on Friday, as investors grew cautious amid a global stock market correction following months of gains. ETM Analytics noted the rand's defensive stance reflects broader market worries. Domestic focus shifts to next week's employment, mining and manufacturing data, but the National Treasury's 2025 medium-term budget statement will dominate attention. Nedbank economists forecast a slightly smaller budget deficit of 4.4% of GDP for this fiscal year, with gradual improvement and a primary surplus around 2% by 2028-2029. The Johannesburg Stock Exchange Top 40 Index fell 1%, while the 2035 government bond yield rose slightly to 8.775%. And now to foreign stories. Tanzania's rights organization has condemned what it described as reprisal killings of civilians following recent elections. The Legal and Human Rights Center cited verified cases of excessive force against unarmed demonstrators, including attacks on people in their homes. The group noted the psychological impact on families with children witnessing violence during the October 29 vote. Opposition parties claim post-election violence left hundreds dead, while the United Nations reported at least 10 fatalities. Demonstrators erupted over alleged election manipulation, met with harsh government crackdowns, prompting concerns over one of Tanzania's most serious political crises in decades. The LHRC urged independent investigators to hold perpetrators accountable and prevent further abuses. Now in Asia, an explosion during Friday prayers at a mosque inside a school complex in Jakarta's Kelapa Gading area injured 54 people. The injured suffered a range of wounds, including burns and varying severities of trauma, with some already discharged from hospitals. Jakarta Police Chief Asep Edi Suheri confirmed the incident and said authorities, including a bomb squad, are investigating the cause. Police have cordoned off the site, setting up posts at nearby hospitals to assist families. Despite the blast, the mosque itself sustained little visible damage. And elsewhere, U.S. President Donald Trump praised Syrian President Ahmed al-Shara ahead of their scheduled White House meeting on November 10, saying he's doing a very good job. The UN Security Council recently lifted sanctions on Shara, enabling his visit to Washington. This marks a major shift in US-Syria relations as the US acknowledges Syria's progress in fighting terrorism and enhancing regional stability. The sanctions were originally imposed due to Shara's ties with al-Qaeda, but have been lifted with 14 votes in favor and China abstaining. This will be Shara's first White House visit and his second trip to the US after addressing the UN General Assembly in September.
Well, we're going to meet. And I think he's doing a very good job. It's a tough neighborhood, and he's a tough guy. But I got along with him very well, and a lot of progress has been made with Syria. That's a tough one, but a lot of progress has been made. You know, we took the sanctions off at the request of Turkey, at the request of actually Israel. Well, look, we had a tremendous meeting, as you know, with President Xi in China, and my doctrine would be denuclearization, because we have enough nuclear. We're number one, Russia's number two, China's number three, way behind, but they'll be even in 4 or 5 years. They're, you know, working overtime on nuclear weapons. I think that denuclearization would be a great thing. Essentially, we've really expanded the Abraham Accords, and one of the reasons is we are right now in negotiations or talks with many countries that really wanted to come in, but they couldn't because of the status of Iran. When Iran had a possibility of nuclear weapons, which they do not have now. When Iran was the bully of the Middle East, let's call it the bully of the Middle East, which it isn't anymore.
So my political will to seize all those unique opportunities, and this will is firm, is irreversible, and I will keep all important issues under my personal attention. I have no doubts that we have very bright future as it comes to our bilateral cooperation.
In a small town called Mokwa in Niger State, tragedy has left deep watermarks on the lives of thousands. Now, what started as heavy rains on a quiet weekend turned catastrophic as the Mokwa River burst its banks, submerging entire communities and sweeping homes, farms, and futures away in seconds. Now, over 200 lives have been lost, and at least 500 people are still missing, many of them presumed dead. Those numbers aren't just statistics. They're children who never made it home from school, breadwinners washed away trying to save their property, entire families broken apart by a force they could neither predict nor outrun. Now, more than 3,000 households have been displaced, crowding makeshift camps, some still clinging to the rooftops of submerged homes. Rescue efforts are ongoing, but painfully slow. Food is scarce, clean water is limited, emotions are raw. How many more Mokwas does Nigeria need before disaster preparedness becomes a national priority, not an afterthought? How many more river towns have to drown before drainage systems are more than bullet points in budget proposals? Now, at the end of the day, Mokwa is not just a flood zone. It's a mirror, a reminder of how fragile we all are and how urgently the system needs to work for the most vulnerable. And that's your postscript.